So I managed to get the motor mounts off, and they did put up quite a fight because it seemed like they were just stuck to the frame, which is unfortunate. Uh, One of the frames appears to be in halfway decent shape. I'm going to weigh the option of either keeping it and using a new motor mount. The light bracket did come off again, but we're going to clean that one. We're going to throw out the old motor mount, and now that we're down to the frame, you could see for sure that this was a powered locomotive, and you could tell it's a powered locomotive because of this silver stripe right here. This is where the bottom of the motor is connected to. When the motor is mounted to the frame itself is energized somewhat. It's a metal frame. It's a metal frame. And this is where the negative power for the motor works. The light bracket itself, when it's mounted to the frame, it gives the headlight the negative connection. The positive connection comes from the top of the motor. So, I might give this a nice little once over, paint it nice, paint it black. Of course, carefully watching this metal strip right over here. So I am going to take my Bright Boy, which you can get at any hobby shop or Amazon or any e-tailer. And give that a nice cleaning so that it's nice and shiny. Alternatively, you can use a fiberglass pencil, which you can also obtain on Amazon, since for unknown reasons you can't find it in a hardware store. I've yet to find a hardware store that sells fiberglass pencils. Not even the big box stores sell fiberglass pencils, which is unfortunate. So I got that taken care of. We can set the frame aside, and we may give this a nice little coat of paint, even though no one is really going to see the frame because the shell is going to be right on top of it, along with the gear towers and the trucks. So it's a matter of personal preference. This is what it's personal preference because this was one of my first diesel locomotives in my collection. So you have to give respect. So I'm just going to set the frame aside for the time being. I am going to see if there truly was power to this light bulb. I have a spare power pack over here that is not connected to the track, and we're going to put negative over here. We're going to put positive to this copper strip right here. Apply power, and no. Lights out. So, like I said, we'll address replacing that. Maybe we'll put in a nice LED. But we'll set that there for now. Now, let's address the motor. This is a Jet 600, either a Jet 600 or a Jet 400 motor, fitted with gray flywheels. Of course, in time, Athearn replaced the gray flywheels with gold flywheels. They're much nicer and more expensive. If you look on eBay, or if you go to any Facebook marketplace group that might sell motors, these gray flywheels come less expensive than the gold ones. And as you can see, the commutator is heavily oxidized. But before I take care of the commutator, I'm going to take care of the top and bottom brushes. To get to the top and bottom brushes, you have to remove each clip. And when you remove the clip, you go in from the front using a slotted screwdriver. You go in from the front. When you remount the clip, and this applies for both the top and bottom clips, you go in from behind. So let's start with the bottom, work our way to the top. So, pardon me. Right, so I'm going to cover this clip with my finger. And the reason why is when you remove the clip, and this goes for the top and bottom clips, there's a spring right over here. If you're not careful, that spring is going to fly off into oblivion. So, with my finger over here, I'm just going to undo this clip. I'm going to set this clip over here, and no, that's not the tweezers I want to use. This is the tweezers I want to use, because this has a pointed end, and the spring is right there. Put that right over there, and get the spring out. Get the brush out. There we are. And this brush is heavily oxidized, so I'm going to take the Bright Boy and clean it. You can use a fiberglass pencil if you want to. Bright Boy will do probably a much better job. And just gonna clean that side also. And pop that back in. And I am going to carefully grab the spring. Without this spring, it's not much, this motor will not be of much use. You have to be careful, and it goes for any locomotive that uses a spring. It's always important to take very good care of the spring. One of the tines of this tweezers is has the spring in it, and the other tine of the tweezers is holding the outside of the spring. So I am just going to put that back in, and like I said, remove from the front, and then replace from behind. And now it's in place. We're going to take the Bright Boy, clean the clip, until it's nice and shiny. There, like so. Alternatively, you could use IPA, isopropyl alcohol, 91%. I like to use this guy sometimes. It's WD-40 Specialist Contact Cleaner, which you can find at Home Depot or Walmart. You just gotta look. Must say contact cleaner. You don't use regular WD-40. That will cause unholy ruin. And I'm just going to bend up the clips slightly more so that for improved connectivity and conductivity to that metal strip on the frame. Now I'm going to take care of the top clip. Again, with my finger, I'm going to set the clip over here. I've got, well, let's put the clip over here instead. I've got the spring, and when you remove the spring and when you replace the spring, make sure you have one of the tines through the spring and the other tine of the tweezers on the side. That way it doesn't go anywhere and you won't be out of luck. Here's the other brush, just as filthy. Until it's nice and shiny. Maybe you can see it on the camera, maybe you can't. But you get the point. I'm going to pop the spring back in place. The brush back in. And now I'm going to take the spring and you want to hear that snap. You want to hear that click. When you hear that click, that it snapped, and you know that it's firmly seated into place. Now, there's a reason why I did the brushes first and not the commutator first, because if you clean the commutator before the brushes, then the commutator is only going to get dirty again from dirty brushes. So clean the brushes first before you clean the commutator. So when it comes to cleaning the commutator, you want to clean the plates in between, because there's oxidation in there. Oxidation is a model railroad locomotive's worst enemy, and to do that, we're going to use a paper clip. A toothpick. Silly. And we're going to go in between each plate of the commutator and remove the oxidation. Right. So the oxidation is gone, is removed. So I am going to once again use my spare power pack and run this motor, because we're going to clean the commutator. So this is before servicing the commutator. I'm going to take the WD-40 contact cleaner and spray. Now, do you hear the motor speed up? That's because of the contact cleaner. It's quick drying. Look at that thing go. This is at 40% throttle. Now, I'm going to shut that off. Going to take some Labelle 107 and I am going to apply it to the shaft right behind the front flywheel and I'm going to apply it to the shaft in front of the rear flywheel, and I'm also going to apply it to the washer immediately behind the windings of the motor. So let's run her again. This is wonderful. This is what we want. This is what we're looking for. And it's slightly the commutator is much cleaner now. We could set that aside. So let's get to the gear towers.